I'm Mark Issacs, and when I started designing what today is a net zero energy house in Bay St. Louis that produces as much energy as it consumes because of the solar panels that are on the roof. But when I started designing that home 10 years ago, windows were the weakest link. But the best window that I could find at any kind of reasonable price and with reasonable availability was an R3 window, R being a measure of thermal resistance. And Department of Energy was trying to tell me that there were R5 windows and R8 windows and R10 windows out there, but they were $1,200 and $1,500 if you could actually get them shipped in. And the reality is that you could not. And that's what caused me to develop WonderWindows. These are acrylic multi-pane windows that essentially almost insulate like walls. They've been tested to national standards. They're code certified for use in buildings just right now, and they're ready to go into our first projects as we speak. We have one patent that's issued in the United States. We have 3 more that are pending, and I think it's safe to say that I'll be filing another application this fall. The big problem is that windows are the weakest link in the building envelope. They cost us in the United States $25 billion a year in lost energy. It's a very big market. By 2024, projected to be $15 billion a year. It's going to be growing at a fast clip over the next, through 2050. And here's the market structure. Out of that $15 billion total window market, about $5 to $7 billion is fixed glass and aluminum frames, like what you see in this building and what you see in most commercial buildings that you walk into. And out of that, we believe that we can capture and obtain somewhere between $1 and $2 billion a year in revenue in 10 years. And the reason why is because we're 300 to 400% more energy efficient than those fixed glass windows. In addition, we provide some extra savings to the wall around the windows. So we get rid of a whole bunch of framing and a whole bunch of cost, which is part of our value proposition. We get rid of headers and jack studs and cripple studs that are no longer structurally necessary. And at the same time, our windows have tested to 155 mile an hour wind resistance. We've also added a lot of details that provide for exterior protection of the windows, that provide for shading when you want shading, and bouncing light where you want it. Basically, we have a durable, sustainable, energy efficient approach to both natural daylighting and view. And when you compare what we're doing in terms of installed cost, in terms of energy savings, the strength of our underlying materials, the ease of our installation, we compare very favorably to both incumbent window types and also the most advanced stuff that's coming on the market or projected ahead. The bottom line is we deliver a durable competitive advantage. There's a leap in performance at actually less cost. We're something like $30 a square foot cheaper than fixed glass and aluminum frames. And we know that we can apply what we're doing to a wide range of building types. Hotel and motel is going to be a strong market for us, office buildings, multifamily residential, and we decided to show that in essentially a thought problem applied to this Hattiesburg hotel you see here. This is a 120-room hotel where we essentially did the thought problem. What happens if we apply our windows and we're only saving $25 a square foot instead of $30 a square foot? We still end up with $82,000 in first cost savings. And if we translate that into solar panels that would go on the roof, we begin to describe how we can arrive at affordable net zero energy buildings in this country and yield somewhere between $7,000 and $9,000 to this particular owner as a lifetime annuity. What's also innovative about what we're doing is our social impact production model. Cobuilders has helped to fund our Makers Workshop at the Boys and Girls Club in Bay St. Louis. My 3 teen makers have made in the past month something like 100 of these sample windows that we want to place in the hands of architects and builders in order to see them specified in full-size window fashion. They've also proven that they can make the full-size windows just as well, and we're looking to place those in small demonstration new construction projects. And I hope someone here is going to have an idea about those demonstration building opportunities. As for myself, I'm the CEO of the organization, an MIT-trained architect, builder, and developer, now an inventor and startup entrepreneur, but with a lifetime of very significant accomplishments in the building field, including having won National Association of Home Builders Green Multifamily Building of the Year Award. Our R&D team are world-class. Intertech Architectural Testing, Oak Ridge National Labs, International Code Council, our great friends at Mississippi Polymer Institute, and we have advisors both in-state and at the national level that are watching what we do and are there to advise us. Our market validation comes in several forms. The overarching thing is, as a market driver in this field, is the move to net zero energy construction. The AIA architects, the American Institute of Architects, have what they call the 2030 commitment. And something like 80% of the nation's architects have committed to the idea that they're going to be building net zero energy buildings. They're going to be consistently designing and building them by the year 2030. And there's a significant vanguard of national firms that are, particularly in the Pacific Northwest, that are already, and also in California, that are already designing net zero energy buildings today. The GSA, the General Services Administration, the nation's largest landlord, is in a position to sole source our products because they were developed through SBIR, and we've been invited to give a paper about what we're doing at a major buildings conference in December. 2 projects have specified our windows. They're currently on hold. We want to see our windows go into buildings that get built real soon. We have big markets within a 500-mile radius in New Orleans, Houston, Dallas, Nashville, Atlanta, etc. Eventually, we'll develop makers' workshops in those places. But essentially, 9 different locations across the country can allow us to provide local windows within a day's drive and save over 1,000 miles of truck delivery transportation for every building that we're involved in. We see our way to profitability within 24 months through a bootstrapping possibility. We're open to talking to investors, but we believe we can actually get to profitability on a bootstrapping basis. This shows how revenue and net operating income begin to take off after that 24-month period. So my final slide for the day and my 3 questions to you: who in here has a new construction building project that is in their future that wants to go home with a sample window? I've got 2 sample windows that I can show you on the back ledge there. Who's got a demo building, new construction demo building that they might be thinking about? It can be as small as a utility shed. That would actually be attractive to me. Small is good at this point. And then finally, for those of you that are not on the Gulf Coast, if you come from an area where you could see a social impact makers workshop benefiting disadvantaged youth in your community, make sure you talk to me. And with that, I will happily take your questions.
You had a slide that had a Holiday Inn on it, where you did both math based on Windows and then math based on solar array, on the top.
Yeah.
So is your company going to be intimately involved in the solar array part as well?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Only in the sense of advising people what my own experience is with solar.
Okay.
I mean,
Just want to make sure I understood.
good question. Anything else? Yes,
They're
sir.
acrylic windows, not glass.
Yes.
How many layers?
So the number of layers is actually going to get tuned to the particular climate that we're going into and the particular orientation on the building. So so back there I have an R4 window, which is going to be essentially delivering twice the thermal resistance of what you typically see in double pane. And that's going to be a really good vision window for this climate. And that's 4 panes of acrylic sandwiched together. The R6 window that's back there would be sort of a really good window for a slightly more severe climate. And we have windows that go up to an R9 thermal resistance. One thing I haven't commented on is that our windows actually, when we box all these parallel layers together, they actually become structural. So I'm not in a position, we haven't done the testing that allows me to claim that I've designed structural windows, but over time what we're going to show is that we can eliminate even more other building materials that get used for creating shear strength, for example, because our windows end up providing that to the frame building. So there's some other things that we'll be offering down the road.
How does acrylic stand out versus glass for clarity and maintenance, that sort of thing?
So we are we're actually clearer than glass on a per thickness basis, but there is an absolute truth that acrylic scratches more easily than glass. It also can yellow over if it was subjected to extreme sunlight for a very, very long time. We've been doing some great testing with Mississippi Polymer Institute, and basically our solution to that problem is the extra protective layer that we put on the outside. If a tree limb or a baseball hits our window and creates a scratch or a mar, we can zip off that pane of glazing, add one back, and essentially solve that problem straight on. What's also important to note, though, is that acrylic is 10 times stronger than glass, so we're going to be having less glass breakage.
Does it have any ballistics?
Ballistics are going to be close to impossible for us to solve, but we can actually back up the ballistic glass that others do. One more.
No more time.
No more time.
Can you do tinting on the windows?
I think we can do tinting on the windows, but actually there are compelling reasons why we wouldn't want to, and I'll talk to you about that afterwards. Okay?